a lot of people would say, hey, Joe, why would you have a competing agent on your podcast from your marketplace? But man, as I mentioned before, you're probably one of my best friends. So thank you for your friendship, man. And
likewise.
And just everything that we've been through together, we've seen each other grow. So, as I mentioned earlier, you have one of the most, inspirational stories that I've heard, man, and had the privilege of witnessing. You graduated San Diego State, right?
Yes.
So you were an Aztec.
Yes, go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs, right? You graduated San Diego State. You entered the business world. And then, at some point in your life, you found yourself battling addiction, and you lost it all. You lost everything. But I've seen you over the last few years really rebuild who you are. You've become, like I said, a top producing agent here in Ventura County, a real estate investor, and, you hit 7 figures, which, all of us agents strive to do. So, man, kudos to you. If you wouldn't mind just kind of sharing, a little bit about you and what you've been through.
Yeah, of course. So, again, my name is Eliseo Cisneros. I was born and raised here in Ventura County. I come from a farm working family. My parents met in the fields. There's, crack babies, jail babies. I call myself the field working baby.
There we go.
Yeah, they met in the strawberry fields here in Oxnard. And, I grew up in a pretty, working class family. We didn't have, much, but we also we didn't struggle. There was always food on the table.
Sure. Come from a working family.
Yeah, from a working family. My dad worked very hard. My dad, he also struggled with alcoholism, but he would wake up in the morning and still go to work.
Right.
So he taught me the value of hard work. I'm the first one in my family to go to college.
Wow.
I graduated from high school with barely passed with a 2.0. I think it was a 2.0, 1.97, but I barely passed.
What year did you graduate?
Class of 1994, Yellow Jackets.
Dang.
Go Yellow Jackets. Woo, woo.
19 what? 84?
1994.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was breakdancing in 1984. Well, I was a kid. But anyway, so I remember one time I wasn't the best of students in high school. And one time I was going to college. I was going to community college, and I ran into my academic advisor from high school and college. I mean, at the library. And he asked me, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Well, I'm studying. I'm studying for a test." He goes, "Studying for a test?" He goes, "I thought you gave that up." And I was like, you know what? In my mind, I was like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong.
What motivation, man.
I'm going to prove this guy wrong. So I went to school. I went to San Diego State. I graduated. But at that time, I was actually dating somebody, and I was engaged.
Wow.
Yeah. I was
Carmen, close your ears.
I was a heavy drinker.
Okay.
I would drink on the weekends. During the week, I was, pretty school-minded, working and what have you. I was just that weekend warrior status. Drink on the weekends. But anyways, to make a long story short, we were engaged. We lived together, and we ended up breaking up. And I took that pretty hard, because I'm, being for somebody for so long. And a way for me to cope with that, I ended up in the wrong path. Again, I was a weekend warrior. And I graduated from school. I got a job. I was working for Wells Fargo as a credit manager, where we underwriting subprime mortgages and selling the mortgage as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we're selling the benefit. That's where I started selling mortgages.
Sure.
We sell the benefit at a very high interest rate. People that are really in debt, we would get them, kind of consolidate all the debt and sell one payment, although the interest rate was way high. But we were selling these deals because people were really in debt. They had equity. So anyway, to make a long story short, I got into real estate, and I got my license in 2004. And I was still a weekend warrior. And then in 2007, that's when it got pretty bad. I went spiraling down.
Wow.
Yeah, and I kind of sobered up. And then I kind of went back into the business. The market crashed. I went crashing with it, but so long with my with my addiction, in 2011, my grandmother passed away. Sorry.
It's okay, man.
And also my cousin passed away the same week. And I kind of took it hard.
Sure.
And then that's when, gosh, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
And that's when I went really, went down, and I essentially lost everything.
So you found yourself dealing with the market crashing,
Yes.
a really bad breakup, losing your grandma, and losing your cousin in the same week as losing
The
your
same
grandma.
week, yes. My grandma passed away on Mexican Mother's Day, and
Wow.
my cousin passed away on a Friday.
Gosh, man.
And I'm sorry, I think it was either Thursday or Friday, but it was the same week. And that was pretty. My grandmother, I kind of expected it because she wasn't doing very well in health, and she was up there, and she already lived her life. You know, I mean, she had her last kid at the age of 44, which was my uncle Art, which is he's a year older than I am, and I tell everybody he's my cousin, but he's actually my uncle, my mom's youngest brother. So anyhow, it's I kind of went spiraling down at that point, and in 2013 I found myself at the end of my rope, and I remember one time I got on my knees and I cried out to God, and I asked him, if you're real, save me.
Wow.
And he used my mom to take me to Tucson, Arizona, where I was at a halfway house, a sober living home, and where I sobered up.
Sure.
Actually, I stayed with my uncle. I have an uncle that lives in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. His name is Hector. And I stayed there for a couple of days, and I remember I had the biggest ego. I was very arrogant.
Which is true. I knew you around that time. Right?
Yes. So I sobered up there, and then in 2014 I was already 6 months there, and I was actually establishing my life there. I was working as a housing consultant for a nonprofit organization.
Wow, I didn't know that you had a job out there in Arizona.
Yeah, I was working in Tucson. I was actually, it's interesting because I didn't have a car, and so I was riding the bus.
Wow.
And I would wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock. In Arizona, they don't change the time. So at 7 o'clock it was still dark,
Right.
I remember catching the bus, going to South Tucson, working there, coming back, and I mean, and I was happy. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna build from here. I'm gonna build. And then in 2014, in March, my dad had a stroke, and my mom asked me to come back.
Wow.
So I did, and then my dad, he passed away.
Mm.
And so, I remember, I made a promise to my dad that I was going to do everything to stay clean and be able to help my mom and my brothers. And I remember getting back into real estate back in 2014. And I remember I was staying at home with my mom, and I was staying in one of the extra rooms because my other brother and his wife and my nephews, they took the upstairs where I used to stay at before. So I stayed in a room downstairs. So I remember I got back into the real estate. I was knocking doors every single day. I didn't have a car, so I had to borrow my mom's car. And
was that the Mitsubishi?
No, it was a Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that one. The
Toyota
Corolla.
No, yeah. I remember you driving the Mitsubishi.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story about that one right now. So I was borrowing my mom's car, and I remember I had to be home by 3 o'clock because she had to go pay her bills or she had to go run her errands. So I would knock doors every single day, and at the same time, I was working for a handyman so I can make enough money so I can pay for gas. And I remember my mom used to tell me, mijo, why don't you get a real job? I mean, you have a college degree. Why don't you get a real job? This job is not doing much for you. Look at you. You're struggling. You're working for a handyman. You have a college degree. I was like, I go, yeah, Mom, but I don't want to do that. I know what I want.
Sure.
So I kept knocking on doors until I got my first listing. And then I kept prospecting. I remember that year, 2014, I think I closed 7 deals that year.
Wow.
And which is not too shabby for working half the year, right?
But from coming from where you were, right?
Yes. From riding the bus.
Literally riding the bus, starting over, coming from Tucson and back into the real estate industry. You closed 7 deals the first year you were here, considering it was only 6 months, right?
Yeah, 6 months. So I made more that year than I would have made a whole year.
How much did you make?
I think it was about $70,000.
Okay.
Yeah, $70,000. I mean, nothing too crazy.
Sure.
Probably between 65 and 70,000. It's been a while.
Okay.
Yes, and that's GCI before taxes and before everything else, right?
Right.
So then I remember that year I bought my brother's car. He sold me a 2013 Mitsubishi car. I remember when I got that car. I remember the first day that I bought that car, I got pulled over by the cops. I was like, oh, shoot, here we go. And so I was wearing my glasses, and the cop told me, can you take your glasses off? I was like, sure. He goes, let me see your eyes. I was like, yeah, look my eyes. He goes, all right.
You were sober, so
I was sober.
You were proud to show him your eyes.
I was probably, look all you want, man, because before I used to hide them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, So after that, I kind of told me, I've been clean and sober for so long. Oh man, that's good, because a lot of people, it's hard for them to overcome that.
Sure.
And so, anyways, man, so I went there, and I got pulled over twice on that car.
Wow.
Twice.
Time to get rid of it.
In fact, one time the cops gave me a police officer. She gave me a compliment on my tie. She goes, "Nice tie." I was like, "Well, thank you." So anyway, I think I kept that car for about a year, and then I bought a used Honda Accord, a little black Honda Accord.
I remember that car.
Yeah, I remember. And with that car, I didn't get pulled over. It was a more presentable car.
Right. It was a newer car, right?
It was a newer car, yes. And then, in fact, it made me more, it gave me more of a confidence, it made me, okay, like I'm reestablishing my life.
Sure.
And then I remember we went back, I was working at Century 21. That's where you and I were working together.
Yeah.
And then I left to Intero.
Right.
And then from Intero, I feel like that's where I got a lot of my coaching, a lot of my training, a lot of the training that I needed to become the agent I am today, along with the Mike Ferry organization.
Right.
Because I've done, I always give props to the Mike Ferry organization because they're the foundation of my business.
Right. That was game changer in both of our businesses.
It was, because you were also involved in coaching too with them. So yeah, man. So my business just kept going up. And I remember.
Wait. At Intero is also where you met your girl,
my beautiful wife, Carmen.
And who was the one that would tell you, bro, how come you don't make a move on Carmen? Who was the one that would tell you, bro?
It was you.
Okay.
Man. It was you. Yeah, in fact, I remember I met Carmen in 2014 when I got back into real estate. My pickup line to her was, "Hey, do you want to go door knocking?"
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, she thought I was weird at that time, but hey, I was actually being serious. I really wanted to go door knocking.
I'm sure you did,
so I can get to know her. But
right.
Yeah, but anyway, and then 2016, that's where kind of started connecting more with Carmen. In 2017, we started dating, and with that. Since then, for that history, I married her, and now we have a beautiful son, and we have 2 beautiful children from her previous marriage, which I consider my children as well.
Of course.
Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, man. In 2018, Remax, Intero closed their doors, and 2018 we joined Remax.
Right.
I remember you joined Remax before.
That's right.
Just because you had your you had your goals and your plans, and you made the move. And I remember in 2018, 2019, we took off. I think we ended up closing like 48 transactions that year. Yeah.
And so from the time that you closed 7, what year was that?
2014.
Okay, 2014. So in a 4-year span, you went from 7 transactions to 48 transactions.
To 48 transactions, yes.
All while recovering from battling addiction and losing your dad.
Yes.
Dude, that is some grit, and that's nuts, man. I mean, for you to go, from that low production to a very respectable production, especially in our area.
Yeah. And then in 2020, COVID hit, pandemic. I remember I think I had 11 escrow cancellations. That year we kind of regressed a little bit. I think by 5 transactions. I think we ended up like at 45 or 44 around there.
Okay.
But then the year after that, we ended up closing 80 transactions and we made 7 figures that year.
That was in 2021.
2021.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is insane. And I mean, it's been a wild ride. It's been an awesome ride.
Sure.
I feel like God took me out of Egypt, where I was, slave to my own demise, or slave to my own, vices, my own addiction or what have you. But God He has been blessing me year after year. Obviously there's been challenges,
Sure.
I'm human, so I'm not perfect. I will drop the ball here and,
Of course.
just part of being human, right?
We all will.
Yeah. Like the Bible says, like Jesus said when they were praying, he's like, hey, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
That's right.
So, it's been, after 2022, we still did pretty good. This year it's been of a very, very crazy year. But we're still doing well, I think, overall.
Yeah.
And I'm just, honestly, Joe, with all these transactions and everything, I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm healthy.
Right.
I'm happy that I have a family.
Beautiful family.
Yeah, I'm happy that I'm not where I was 10 years ago.
Sure.
And I'm just blessed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, all of this happened for you you were a homeowner. You still are, but you lost your homes when you fell to your addiction, right? You were homeless for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And now to go from that to who you are today, for somebody that's perhaps getting, started in the business from like a restart, or somebody who is struggling with addiction themselves, what practical advice would you give somebody that's coming back into the industry and really trying to give it their all and rebuild?
So anybody it all depends. If it's somebody that's coming out from that wants to get over addiction,
sure.
Will work for me, may not work for somebody else, but for me it's all God.
Okay.
Obviously, and it says that faith without works is dead.
Right.
So you have to put in the work too.
Of course.
And for me it was, I feel like God used my mom as a vessel or as a tool to get me out of the area because she wouldn't give up on me. So I think getting out of the area for a while and going to a different place where you don't know anybody could potentially help you. But then again, there's that saying that goes, you could take the boy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the boy.
Yeah.
So the only way you're ever going to change is that once you feel like you're ready to change. Because once you hit rock bottom, and I hit my rock bottom, everybody has a different definition of rock bottom.
Sure.
I wasn't happy with my life at that point. I wasn't happy with who I was. I wasn't happy how I was treating my mom, my family, my grandparents, just my family. I wasn't even going to family parties anymore.
Wow.
I remember one time my mom was she was sick with cancer, and I'll say this, it's kind of confidential, but I remember one time I went there for a little bit and I took off. And when I should have been there. I was there for the most part, but there's times that I just didn't want her to see me.
Sure.
But anyways, to make a long story short, I feel like if somebody wants to truly be successful in this real estate business, is first of all, get a coach.
Gotcha.
Get a coach, get somebody that's a mentor, that's somebody that's done it. And I'm not talking about like 30, 40 transactions, because there's a lot of people that do that transaction levels, which is good amount of business.
Right.
But they want to be coaches. I feel like you have to hire someone that's a mentor that does about 100 deals plus, or but basically just hire a coach. That's somebody that can help you
with real experience.
Right. With high level of experience that can help you get there.
They're not just preaching philosophy, but they're actually doing what they say.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And obviously, coaching is not the magic pill, because you got to put in the work.
Right.
You got to have faith.
Right. Which I got to say, like, you're a great example of that, because I think, like me, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars in coaches, right?
Yeah.
To help get us where we're at today. I mean, you've spent over six figures. You were at one time spending what, $50,000 at minimum a year on coaching?
Yes, because I feel like they said the best investment is investing in yourself.
Right.
So I wanted to invest in myself because I want to be the best version of myself, not just for myself, but for my family, for my kids. I want them to know what's possible.
Yeah.
I want them to know that anything is possible if you put your mind to it and put your heart to it. So somebody that's starting out in the business, I feel like I don't feel like, I know that real estate is a contact sport.
Sure.
Yes, social media is an avenue, but you have to talk to people every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's days that we're not going to feel like it. Like today is one of the days I didn't feel like it, to be honest with you.
Both.
Yeah. But we still did it. Yeah, we still did it. We're still talking to people. Yeah. Because if like Aaron Novello says, I mean, I hired Aaron Novello, which is one of my coaches. He is my coach, and he's a mentor of mine.
Sure.
He says the day without prospect is the day not in business.
So true.
Yeah. So that's why we got to prospect and just be obsessed with the activity, not the result, because the law of averages will always favor you.
So true, man.
You can go 3 weeks without booking one single appointment,
right? And
then next thing you know, you get a phone call from a family member, from a friend, or from someone that knows you and likes you, that sends you somebody, hey, so-and-so gave me your number. I'd like to sell my house, or I'd like to purchase the property.
Right.
So the thing is just putting in the work, whether you're making phone calls, where you're door knocking, your target door knocking, whatever it is, just talk to people and make sure that you're having good, intentional conversations with individuals about buying and selling real estate.
Right.
And then telling your friends and family what you do, because if you're a new agent, you got to let the whole world know that you're in real estate.
Sure.
Calling your aunts, calling your uncles, calling your cousins, letting them know. I mean, just ask.
A lot of times, I know for both of us, right? That's what got us through our first year or two in the business, is people that we know.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. When we have to broadcast, that we are real estate professionals and here to help people, right? Yeah, that's been key for me. And that's something that man, I tip my hat off to you, because throughout this process that I've seen you evolve into who you are today, the one thing that I could say, bro, is that not only did you put God first, but you are probably one of the most consistent people that I know. I mean, you're not as good looking as me. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But you are very consistent, man. You are there day in and day out. So, dude, kudos to you on that.
Thank you, man.
And, it's been an honor and a privilege to see you evolve, into who you are today. And for those that are watching or those that are listening, where can people find you? I mean, you're active on social media. What are your outlets?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at eliseocisneros.exp, or you can also find me on TikTok with the same username, or you can just find me on Facebook at Eliseo Cisneros.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, make sure you take the time, follow Eliseo, follow myself at Joe Lucio on Instagram and Joe Lucio on TikTok. We're here to help in any way, whether you're an agent, you're a home buyer, home seller, reach out to us. We want to help you in any way that we can. Eli, once again, thank you for being on today. Man, let's keep crushing it. Yes. Let's keep collaborating, and let's continue helping people achieve the goal of home ownership. And, both Eli and I are Christians. So, hearing his story today, if you find yourself, struggling with addiction, you find yourself, struggling with depression or whatever it is, I want you to know that Jesus Christ is the answer. Jesus Christ can save you, and you have people that are willing to pray with you and help see you through. I mean, even though Eli and I are both, in business, we want you to know that if you need prayer, if you need advice, shoot us a DM, shoot us a message, and we're more than happy to pray for you and point you in the right direction. I'm telling you right now, if Eli could do it, you could do it too.
Anyone could do it.
Anybody could do it. And he found what works for him. And we'd like to introduce you to that in some way, shape, or form if you find yourself struggling in the area of addiction or any sort of vice. We all have our issues. Everything is confidential, and we're here to help in any way that we can.